All right, let's dive in. We're tackling a topic that's, well, everywhere right now, the real-world challenges of cloud transformation.
Oh, it's a big one.
And we're digging into one key source today, Jay Tillotson's article, Overcoming Common Challenges in Cloud Transformation Initiatives. That was on Techshift, April 9th, 2025.
Right. And our goal here, our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack that article. We want to pull out the really critical insights for you.
Give you that shortcut.
Exactly. A shortcut to understanding the biggest hurdles organizations face moving to the cloud and, how to actually get over them.
Because the promise is huge, right? Scalability, agility, innovation. It sounds amazing.
And it can be absolutely transformative.
But, as this article makes pretty clear, the journey itself, often not so smooth.
No, it's often bumpy, littered with common pitfalls, really.
So this deep dive is all about helping you see those coming and understand the strategies the source suggests to, well, succeed anyway.
Okay, so Jay Tillotson lays out 8 main challenges. And the first one is, it's fundamental. It's where things often go wrong right at the start.
There would be the inadequate assessment and planning piece.
Precisely. The article says the root problem here is often impatience, underestimating just how complex their current IT setup really is.
So they rush in.
They rush the migration, yeah, without really truly understanding their infrastructure, their apps, data flows, all those hidden dependencies.
Right. It's like packing for a huge move without looking in all the closets first.
That's a great analogy. And the result of rushing, of not having that deep baseline understanding, it's predictable problems later on.
Like what specifically?
Unexpected costs shooting up, performance suddenly tanking, compliance violations because data handling wasn't mapped right, maybe even major operational disruption.
Okay, so skipping that foundation is a definite no-go according to the source. How does it say to get it right?
It's about being methodical. Strategy 1, a really comprehensive assessment, inventory everything, and crucially, use automated discovery tools.
Why automated?
Because they can visually map out those complex dependencies you might not even know you have. Humans miss things.
Okay, what else?
Second, you have to analyze business processes and compliance needs before you migrate, like regulatory stuff, where can data actually live? That shapes your whole strategy.
And don't try to boil the ocean all at once.
Definitely not. The article pushes pilot migrations hard. Start small, non-critical stuff. Learn there. Refine your process before you touch the really important systems.
Makes sense. Test the waters.
And the glue holding this all together, engage stakeholders early. Get business, IT, compliance talking from day one. Alignment is key.
Okay, solid advice on planning. Let's move to the next big pain point. And this one feels like it bites almost everyone. Unanticipated and poorly managed costs.
Oh, yeah. This is huge. The cloud can save money, but so many orgs see costs balloon instead.
Why is that?
The article points to a few things. One big one is the double bubble.
The what now?
The double bubble effect. You're paying for your old on-premise systems and the new cloud environment at the same time.
Ah, like paying 2 rents. Ouch.
Exactly. And often for longer than you budgeted for. Then there are the hidden, could be a team, could be a capability, but someone needs to be actively monitoring, managing, and optimizing that spend using dashboards, benchmarks. Real financial rigor.
And tackling that double bubble.
Gotta plan your data center exit, clear timelines, don't let it drag on. The longer both run, the more you bleed cash.
And it's not set and forget.
No way! Monitor and adjust constantly. Track your actual usage against the plan, resize resources up or down. It's continuous.
Okay, challenge 3 shifts gears a bit, more towards the people side, which is often, let's face it, the trickiest part. Skills gaps and talent shortages.
Yeah, the article flags this as a major bottleneck. Moving to cloud platforms, dealing with advanced security, automation, DevOps, it all needs new skills.
Skills that are hard to find.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
Or at least internal teams often don't have them yet. And that gap directly slows down the transformation. Plus, it introduces risk if people are trying to manage things they don't fully understand.
So training is the obvious answer, but is it that simple?
Training's crucial, but it needs to be strategic. First, the article says, figure out exactly where your skills gaps are. Don't just train randomly.
Assess first.
Right. Then, invest seriously in training and certification. And the source makes a point, not just for your tech wizards. Non-technical staff need training too, because their jobs and processes change. Think hands-on labs, Workshops, formal programs.
What if you just can't build up those skills fast enough internally?
Good question. Tillotson suggests leveraging external expertise, bringing in partners or consultants to fill those gaps, especially during, critical phases like the actual migration.
Okay, bring in the cavalry.
But, and this is important, you can't just outsource understanding. The article implies you still need your own people skilled enough to manage those partners effectively, to challenge them. Which brings us back to training.
Right, you need smart customers.
Exactly. And fostering a culture of continuous learning inside the organization is key. Encourage people to experiment, share knowledge, work across teams, let skills grow organically too.
That connects really nicely to the fourth challenge, which is maybe the most human of all: underestimated change management.
Ah, yes. This is where, according to the article, so many transformations just stumble. Cloud isn't just plugging in new tech. It's a huge shift in operations, in culture.
How so?
It changes how people work, their daily workflows, even their roles and responsibilities. If you don't actively manage that organizational change piece,
People push back.
you get resistance, yeah. Slow adoption of the new tools and processes. And ultimately, you don't get the business value you were promised because people aren't using it right, or at all.
So the tech could be flawless, but if the people aren't on board.
That doesn't matter. The strategies here are all about the people. Communicate the vision constantly. Explain the why. How does this help them, their teams, not just the company's bottom line?
Make it personal.
Yes. And engage change agents or champions inside the business units. People who get it, who can advocate for the change and show others how the new way works.
Internal influencers?
Pretty much. Invest in organizational readiness, not just the tech training, but support networks, resources people need to feel comfortable adapting. And, crucially, monitor and address resistance directly.
How?
Use feedback loops, the article suggests. Understand the concerns, tackle them head-on before they fester and derail things.
Okay, let's pivot to a big technical and regulatory challenge. Number 5, security, compliance, and governance risks. This just feels inherently more complex in the cloud.
It absolutely is. The article is very clear. You can't just lift and shift your old on-prem security model. It won't work.
Why not?
The cloud has a different attack surface, new types of threats, different regulatory hoops to jump through. Think data residency, encryption methods, managing identities across all these distributed services. It's a different ballgame. Your old security tools, often incompatible or just not effective.
So security can't be an afterthought, something you bolt on after migrating.
Definitely not. That's a recipe for disaster. The source insists you have to reevaluate your entire security and compliance framework specifically for the cloud. Update your policies, your controls,
Why do you do that?
from the very beginning. Embed security right into the migration planning, into the development lifecycle. It needs to be built in, not bolted on. Integrate automated security checks into your deployment pipelines.
Automation sounds critical here.
Hugely. Leverage automation and continuous monitoring for security checks, for enforcing policies automatically, and for generating compliance reports. And one more key piece the article highlights. Understand the shared responsibility model.
With the cloud provider.
Exactly. Know precisely what security tasks are your responsibility and what the cloud provider handles. Don't make assumptions.
Okay, we're about halfway through the list. Challenge number 6, scope creep and project complexity. Now, this feels like a classic project management headache.
It is, but the article points out how cloud's nature can make it worse. It's so easy to add things, to expand.
Because it seems easy initially.
Right. That agility can be a double-edged sword. Scope expands way beyond the original plan, often with good intentions. Oh, while we're moving this app, let's just quickly fix this other related thing.
And suddenly the project is huge.
Exactly. And that leads straight to those project killers we all know. Missed deadlines, blown budgets. And sometimes the project gets so bogged down, the original business value just gets lost in the noise.
So how do you prevent that? How do you keep the scope contained?
Ruthless clarity from the start. Define and manage the scope tightly. What's in, what's out, be explicit. The article suggests using established frameworks.
Frameworks? Like what?
Like the AWS well-architected framework, for example. These are basically sets of best practices that guide your design and decisions, helping you stay focused and build things properly.
Okay, so structure helps. Prioritization must be key, too.
Absolutely critical. Prioritize your workloads. Decide the sequence based on clear criteria. Business value, technical complexity, risk. Maybe tackle high-value, lower-risk things first for quick wins.
Or the tricky dependencies early.
Or get the really complex dependencies out of the way early. Yes. Document everything, decisions, configurations, why you did what you did. Communicate constantly across teams. That prevents misunderstandings that fuel scope creep.
And agility.
Well, the article does mention adopting agile methods. That allows you to iterate, get feedback, and adjust in a controlled way rather than letting new requirements just explode the original scope uncontrolled.
Got it. Okay. Challenge 7 moves to relationships. Loss of control to partners and vendor lock-in.
This is a big strategic risk the article flags. Organizations often lean really heavily on external partners, or they go all in with one specific cloud provider.
Which you might need to do, at least initially.
True, it's often necessary to get started, but the danger is becoming too dependent. Your internal teams might not develop the skills they need because the partner's handling everything.
Which makes it hard to manage them.
Hard to manage them, hard to even evaluate their advice critically, and it makes it really difficult and potentially expensive to switch partners or providers later on if you need to. You're locked in.
So how do you work with partners but avoid losing control or getting locked in?
The source stresses, build internal cloud skills even when you're using partners. Your own team needs to be capable enough to manage, optimize, and yes, challenge that external expertise.
Due diligence on partners too.
Absolutely. Evaluate them rigorously. Look beyond the sales pitch. Check their actual experience, how well they align with your long-term strategy, not just the immediate project.
And dealing with vendor lock-in specifically.
The advice is to design for flexibility from the outset. Standardize where you can, make your architecture modular. Maybe you don't go full multi-cloud immediately, that adds complexity too, but designing with interoperability in mind helps.
Using standards.
Yeah, using standards makes it potentially easier to connect to other services or even move parts later, reducing that deep dependency on just one platform's proprietary stuff.
Okay, last one. We finally hit the deep technical stuff. Challenge 8, integration, interoperability, and network limitations.
Right. This is where the technical rubber meets the road, as the article puts it. Connecting old legacy systems, sometimes decades old, with modern cloud platforms. That's technically challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And ensuring different cloud services talk to each other smoothly, or making your remaining on-prem stuff work seamlessly with the cloud in a hybrid setup. That's a heavy technical lift. Interoperability is tough.
And the network underneath it all.
Often overlooked, but critical. If you don't have enough bandwidth or the connection between your users or data centers and the cloud is unreliable or slow, it can cripple performance. Doesn't matter how great the cloud setup is if the pipes are clogged.
The data just can't get there fast enough.
Exactly. So the strategies here. First, set clear interoperability standards early on. How are different systems going to connect and swap data? Define that.
And invest in the network.
You absolutely have to. Robust network infrastructure is non-negotiable. Enough bandwidth, low latency, redundancy. Make sure it can handle the load.
What about hybrid or multi-cloud?
For those complex environments, the article emphasizes using tools like APIs, middleware, standard protocols. Think of them as the universal translators and adapters that let all these different systems understand each other and work together.
Wow. Okay, that's quite a list. So recapping. Inadequate planning, runaway costs, skills gaps, change resistance, security worries, scope creep, getting locked in with vendors, and finally, those tricky integration and network issues. It really is an obstacle course.
It definitely can be. But like we said, the article isn't just doom and gloom. It pairs every challenge with those concrete strategies to overcome them.
Right.
And looking across everything, Tillotson boils it down to some overarching best practices, almost like pillars for a successful transformation.
Okay, let's hear those pillars. What are the big takeaways?
First, strategic alignment. This whole cloud thing must be tied directly to clear business goals. It's not just an IT project for IT's sake.
Makes sense. What's next?
Second, quantifiable goals. You need measurable KPIs. How will you actually know if this transformation is succeeding? Define success up front.
Got it. Measure what matters. Third,
Robust governance. The article suggests something like a central control tower or authority. Someone needs to oversee standards, costs, security, quality across the whole thing. Keep it coordinated.
central oversight for a distributed setup. Interesting.
Exactly. Fourth, continuous improvement.
Hmm.
Build in automation for monitoring, for enforcing policies, for responding quickly to issues. The cloud changes fast. Your approach has to keep up.
Be dynamic. And the last one.
Fifth, stakeholder engagement. We touched on this with change management, but it's broader. Involve everyone who's affected early and often. Keep communication open and transparent all the way through.
Okay, so by unpacking this source, Jay Tillotson's article, you should now have a much clearer view of these common hurdles.
And maybe more importantly, a map of those actionable strategies straight from the source to help you navigate them.
It really is a valuable shortcut, giving you a heads up on the reality of cloud transformation.
Which brings us right back to that thought-provoking question the article poses at the end. It's aimed right at leaders driving these changes.
And that question is,
Are you proactively addressing the root causes of these cloud transformation challenges, or are you just reacting to the symptoms as they pop up?
ooh, that really hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Proactive versus reactive.
Yeah,
Because if you're just reacting like, oh no, costs are through the roof, or oops, we had a security breach, or why isn't anyone using the new system?
yeah.
You're always playing catch-up, always fighting fires.
Right. And the article strongly implies that the successful transformations, they're overwhelmingly proactive. They do the hard work up front.
The assessment, the economic modeling,
Addressing the skills gaps and change management early, designing security in, setting up governance before things get messy. They anticipate the problems because they understand these common pitfalls.
and the article frames it all as a journey, doesn't it?
It does. The closing thought is pretty powerful. Cloud transformation is a journey, and challenges are opportunities to build resilience, agility, and lasting value.
So it's not about having a perfectly smooth ride with zero problems.
No, it's about being ready to handle the bumps, learn from them, and actually come out stronger, more agile, more resilient on the other side.
So the final thought for you, as you're thinking about or maybe already deep into your cloud journey, is maybe to look beyond just fixing today's immediate problem.
Yeah, ask yourself, are we building the underlying capabilities? The solid planning, the financial discipline, the skilled teams, the strong governance.
The things you need not just to solve today's issue, but to keep succeeding.
Exactly. To really capture the full long-term value of the cloud for years to come. Building for the future, not just reacting to the present.
A great place to leave it. That concludes this deep dive.